Okay, I'd like to welcome you out to the commission meeting for April 1st, 2020. If you would, we'd appreciate if you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get going on tonight's agenda, being that we are in COVID-19 mode and we do have a couple of items on the agenda tonight for public hearings. Being that we are trying to keep our space, we have made it available for the public to call in if they would like for the public hearing portions of the meeting. If you would like to call in, the number is area code 435-636-3226. That's 435-636-3226. The first item on the agenda is the presentation of the Carbon County Employee of the Month Award by Rose Barnes. Rose is not here, so Commissioner Jensen is graciously going to make this presentation.
This month, the Employee of the Month is Nick Fitzter. He was nominated by Shelley Wright and her staff at the Children's Justice Center. And what they have said about Nick is that, and maybe I can back up and just say Nick is on our maintenance department, and he's the guy that fixes everything that's broke and repairs and builds about anything that we've ever needed him to do. Nick has worked for the county for 44 years and continues to come back each year and work. But tonight, since we're unable to have him here and Rose as well, we'd like to read a little bit that the Children's Justice Center has sent over. So Brenda Pappas from the Family Support Center, along with the support of the entire center, nominated Nick for Employee of the Month. No matter what's broken or what the issue may be, Nick always finds a solution, and in a very timely manner. We want to show Nick our appreciation for all he does for us. Thank you, Nick. And I might just add that in the year that I've been here, I've watched Nick respond in a very kind and accommodative way with whatever is needed, and he is just pleasant to be around and has the ability to really fix anything. So thank you, Nick. We've got a plaque for him. We'll get that to him. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick's a great guy and a pleasure to be around, so well done. Item 2 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
I saw no corrections.
I don't either.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 3, open bids for the sale of Carbon County tax parcel number 01-2610-0000 and 02-1674-0002.
We received 2 bids for the 01-2610-0000. One of the bids was received today and doesn't qualify because it was received late. So I'll open the one. This is from Mark Morley. The bid is from Southeast Holdings LLC, and they say that they're willing to pay $5,100 to purchase the above referenced property, which is 01-2610-0000. We have 5 bids for the other parcel, which is 02-1674-0002. The first one from Jeff Peters is for a bid of $1,201. The second is from Philip Palmer, I believe, and his bid is for a price of $750. The third bid is from Southeast Holdings for a bid price of $2,650. Fourth bid is from Terry Allard for a price of $500, or a bid of $500. And the last bid was for a bid of $750 from Donald Polster. It looks like Southeast Holdings was the high bid on each of those 2 parcels from Mark Morley.
Is there opportunity to ask any questions here?
At this point, we're just reviewing the bids, accepting the bids, and I don't really have an issue either way. I mean, it's just a standard bid opening right now.
I just got one question.
Just a minute, Jeff. You got to come to the microphone if you're going to ask a question. And then you have to be recognized by the chair. So it's his decision if he's going to let you ask questions here.
Okay.
Was there a part of the bid process you didn't get, or you had a question on, or what was your question
Yeah, just a
regarding?
question on it. It was my understanding that your property had to attach to this property that was for sale.
No, that's not correct. It didn't have to. Those persons were to be given specific notice of it. But that was not made a condition of the sale.
So was this announced in the paper, or?
It was put in the paper, yeah. The bid, it was, anybody could come in and bid on these.
See, that was not my understanding. My understanding was only those of us that touched that property would be able to bid for it. I wish I would have known that.
I don't think that was ever a limit on it. I think it was assumed that that would be who would be interested, but I don't remember the commissioners ever saying that was a restriction.
We agreed that for sure we would notify all those who had joined and touched this parcel. We would notify them by mail. So each of those owners got a letter notifying
Right.
each of you, but then we had to put it in the paper as well. So,
See, I was not cognizant of that.
yeah.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
So we will take those quotes, those bids into recognition. I don't know that we have to make a decision tonight.
No, you don't need to. Let's
Okay.
examine those, make sure they were meant for the properties listed, and then we can proceed from there.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the bids and forward those to the commission for review.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 4, public comment on the next item can be made by calling 435-636-3226. You may come in person to make a comment. However, the number of persons allowed in the foyer and the commission chamber will be strictly limited. So that was more of a comment than an actual agenda item. So we'll move on to number 5, a public hearing to receive input from the public with respect to the issuance of the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County's lease revenue bonds in one or more series in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1,750,000 for the Health Department building improvements and related matters.
Commissioners, do I need to check with Jeannie to see if there's anybody on the line, or was she
No.
gonna?
We've got
Barry's.
got Barry.
ITs on that.
Do we need a motion to go into a public hearing?
Yes.
Yes, we will.
I'll make the motion, we go into a public hearing then at 4:42.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we will go into a public hearing at 4:42. And
Could I make a comment about this? The Southeast Health Department, which oversees the health of our community, both for Carbon, Emery, and Grand County. Their main office is here in Price. With the increase over the years of the state's expectations of the health department, they continue to have to increase their size of their staff. Their existing building today is on Main Street and First East, and they're completely out of room there. They have too many employees to fit into that building, and so they went into an exploration mode of trying to figure out what might be options for them, and their first choice was to build a new facility. And when they earlier last year realized the cost of that new facility, they determined that the best thing might be to remodel. And so the old 7th District Court building that Carbon County owns became one option for them to own and occupy, and that's what we tried to make happen in trying to come up with money to do the remodel. The Southeast Health District went to the CIB asking for a loan of $1.75 million and a grant for $1.75 million. Those funds were approved for them, but we ran into the snag where the CIB was unable to loan the money to the health department because they're not a taxing entity. And so the Carbon County Building Authority, is that what we're called?
Municipal Building Authority.
Municipal Building Authority has decided that we would go for those funds through the CIB, but that the Southeast Health Department would pay for the loan, and the county would have no obligation to come up with those payments. So this is an attempt to put them in a better building without any expense to Carbon County in the way of annual loan payments.
That's correct, Commissioners. And so the way this works is it will actually be the Municipal Building Authority which will secure the bond, and they will execute a ground lease with the county of the property, and then in turn they will they'll lease it back to the county, who will lease it to the Southeastern Utah Health Department. So over the course of the period of the bond, of the 30 years on the bond, the Southeastern Utah Health Department will pay back the entire amount of the loan, and it will be in effect the health department that is making all of the annual payments each year on the loan by paying the rent. So neither the county nor the health district, neither the county nor the Municipal Building Authority will be out any money. We're not forwarding not putting any money out as an advance or paying any money yearly. It's all going to be paid by the health department, and it will not harm the county's balance sheet in that manner.
So we've been in this session for about almost 5 minutes, and nobody's come to the mic and nobody has called in.
I'll make the motion, we come out of the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving along to item number 6, authorizing resolution, county, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Carbon County, Utah, the county, authorizing annually renewable lease and sublease agreements, authorizing the issuance and sale by the county's municipal building authority of its $1,434,000 lease revenue bonds, Series 2020, authorizing the execution of corresponding master resolution and security document, authorize the taking of all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transaction contemplated by this resolution and all related matters.
Do we have a resolution number? Seth?
We do, I believe it's 2020-05. I'll have to check that.
I'm quite sure you're right, because the resolutions from last meeting end at 2020-04.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that we authorize this resolution 2020-05.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 7, adjourn as the Carbon County Commission and convene as the Municipal Building Authority.
I'll make a motion to adjourn as the Carbon County Commission and convene as the Municipal Building Authority.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go on to number 8. A resolution of the Governing Board of the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County, Utah, authorizing and approving the execution by said authority of an annual renewable lease agreement by and between such authority and Carbon County, Utah, authorizing the issuance and sale by said authority of its lease revenue bonds, Series 2020, in the aggregate principal amounts of $1,434,000, authorizing the execution by the authority of the master resolution, ground lease, and security documents and other documents required in the connection therewithin, authorizing the acquisition and construction for the purpose of the Health Department building improvements and related improvements to the subleased to the Southeast Utah Health Department, authorize the taking of all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transaction contemplated by the resolution and related matters. Okay.
So for the Municipal Building Authority, do we have that resolution?
That one I don't have off the top of my head. I would assume it'd be like an MBA 2020 dash, and I'm sure it's less than a 05. It's probably like a 03, but I apologize. I don't have the exact number at this point.
Okay. We'll just pass it as a resolution then. Is this a public hearing or just a resolution? Just a resolution.
Yep, resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution and its number, approving the agreement as stated.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So after a little bit of research, it looks like it's most likely an MBA 2020-02. I was off by a number there, so.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. We will move on to item number 9, adjourn as the Carbon County Municipal Building Authority and convene as the Carbon County Commission.
I'll make that motion
Go
that
ahead.
we adjourn as the Carbon County Municipal Building Authority and convene as Carbon County Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So as the Carbon County Commission, we'll go to item number 10, consideration and possible approval of COVID-19 related employee leave policy for Carbon County employees. We don't have Rose here tonight.
I can talk about it if you'd like.
If you don't mind.
Commissioners, this is a policy that we're required to adopt, in fact, by federal law, because we're an employer employing fewer than, I believe, 500 people. This provides that if we adopt this policy, that any employee who, starting on April 2nd through December 31st of this year, is unable to work because of the COVID-19 virus, they will be paid up to 80 hours of paid sick leave. There's really 5 conditions under which they qualify for that sick leave. That is if they're subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation order, if they've been advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine, if the employee is experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 and is seeking a medical diagnosis, if the employee is caring for an individual who is subject to a quarantine order or has been advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine, or if the employee is caring for a child whose school has been closed to those precautions, or a care provider is unavailable due to COVID-19 precautions. So if any of those conditions arise for any of our employees, they are entitled to take up to 80 hours of paid sick leave, except that employees who take sick leave for the purpose of caring for a son or a daughter whose school has been closed will be compensated at only 2/3 their regular rate. So this is the rule of the federal government that we have to follow. There's also FMLA leave that can be taken if a person's child is unable to go to school. 10 days of unpaid FMLA leave is allowed. And that's generally that. So there is coverage for employees for sick leave if they are affected by the COVID-19 coronavirus.
One question there for the public is this same rule applies to private business that has employees of less than 500 people?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I
think it applies
that could be.
To everybody.
And this, just to reemphasize as well, this is a federal thing. This is not a Carbon County package.
It's federally mandated, and I think the county will be, my understanding is the county may qualify for reimbursement if this arises from the federal government. But we are required to pass this policy in order to then be eligible for that reimbursement if it should occur.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the COVID-19, hang on, I lost my spot. The COVID-19 related employee leave policy.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 11, review and possible approval of the 2020 State Homeland Security Project, the SHSP application. I see Mr. Justin Needles.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So 2020 grant cycles here. The really nice thing about the SHSP, State Homeland Security Grant, is it's still 100% grant, so there's no matching dollars for that. It is a regional grant, so it goes to Carbon and Emery counties. That grant total this year is $245,816. Of that money, Carbon County will get $113,000 $912.75. Emery County will get $131,903.25. The reason Emery County gets more this year is we do a 3-year cycle for our alerting system, and they need to pay for it this year, so that cost just comes out of this grant. Some of the changes with this grant, so this covers a lot of the hazmat stuff we do, communications, a lot of those things. They have changed some of the requirements, and this year they're making us put 5% of this grant into some additional areas, those being cybersecurity, soft target hardening, information sharing, and emerging threats. So it's going to give us, I've talked to Barry, it's going to give us some really good stuff for cybersecurity and soft target hardening. So those are just some of the changes with it, but we need approval to be able to apply for that grant.
So cybersecurity, you're not referring to our friends in Iran, are you?
We are referring to what we do at the county and how we can make our cybersecurity better. So
Okay.
I think it's a good program, and I'll make a motion to approve the application for the SHSP grant.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion
Thanks,
passes.
Justin.
Item number 12, consideration and possible approval of the 2020 continued property tax exemptions. Any comments there, or?
I've
Any of these-
reviewed, it looks pretty standard from previous years, mostly churches and other groups like that.
Maybe if I can just make a comment.
Sure.
As stated, most of these are ones that have been exempt in the past, and they have to adhere to pretty strict guidelines to be able to be exempt. They have to be a nonprofit, and there's several other guidelines that they have to meet to be able to qualify.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. We have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the 2020 continued property tax exemption list.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 13, consideration and possible approval of the Permanent Community Impact Board, CIB, Local Capital Improvement List for Carbon County. Commissioners, I think we've all seen the list, all have had some input on this as well. I don't see any changes that I would recommend. I think a lot of these projects and requests are pretty much needed, and I think it's pretty well spread out throughout the county.
I think the only one other thing maybe to add to that is just because it shows up on the list doesn't mean that it will be funded or that we're going to use money for it. This just shows the priority of the most important projects from the cities and the county, and only if we have money will we be able to pull off any of these projects, or the cities as well. This is just a list that the CIB requires.
Commissioners, this is an ongoing revolving list. It's not just a one-time thing we put together, but we update it regularly, and it's always on file with the CIB, as my understanding, and it's available to them when they look at their own available resources. They'll be looking at our list to decide what things they might be able to fund, correct?
Correct.
There might be some interest in the public viewing this for you to highlight maybe 5 or 6 of the top items on the list so that the public's aware of those.
Sure. Let's go through those. The number one priority on this short-term list was for East Carbon City, culinary water treatment plant improvements. The estimated total on that is $3,500,000. Another infrastructure need here would be number 2 from Price River Water Improvement District, sewer nutrient removal project. That is a $3,200,000 estimated total. Item number 3, Carbon County, or what is that, CCMBA?
Municipal
Carbon-
Municipal Building Authority. This would be for the public safety radio infrastructure, Phase 1. Barry, I'd like that, I'm sure, to be the number 1 on the list. That project is valued at $1,900,000. Item number 4 is for Helper City for their cemetery expansion project. Their request is for $50,000. And item number 5 is from Wellington City. Their request is for a fire truck. The value on that is $500,000. There's a total of 11 projects on there. And again, Wellington, Helper, East Carbon, all of the areas within Carbon County have an item on the wish list, I guess would be the best way to put it.
I just think it's important for the public to understand that this is not a list of solely county projects. In fact, it primarily is projects that are city-sponsored or city-requested projects, which the county is apparently gladly endorsing and sponsoring and fully supportive of. I think sometimes the public's not aware that there is coordination between the county and the cities on these items, and so I thought it would be beneficial if you listed some of those so that the public's aware that there's an ongoing dialogue between the county and the cities to identify those projects for our community that are most needed and most important for everybody.
No, that's a great point.
I might add that the item on our agenda for the loan and grant for the health department was not on the list, and we approached them last fall, and they actually approved it, even though it wasn't on the list, because it did rise pretty high on the priority list with them. So you don't necessarily have to be on the list, but it's best if we have them on there.
And I guess for the public's information as well, just so they understand how these work, there's an option to go for grant, no interest loan, and a low interest loan, or a combination of all of the three. For example, the Price River Water Improvement District is bringing in money from or asking for $1.6 million from the CIB, and then they've already received some money from the Department of Environmental Quality that they'll match with the CIB money. So you can bring in matching money from different federal and state agencies to match the CIB.
So, any other comments or questions on this?
I guess just one last quick comment is we make the comment CIB, and that actually is an acronym for the Community Impact Board, who collects the mineral lease revenue monies from coal and gas and any other resource statewide, and funds go into that pool of money, and then they turn around and give those back to us, trying to allocate them throughout the state in a consistent, fair way.
I'll make a motion to approve the the CIB capital improvement list for Carbon County.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item number 14, consideration and approval of a memorandum of agreement between Department of Human Services and Carbon County.
I don't know that any of us know what this item
Yeah.
is or who put it on the agenda.
I think it was one that they wanted to put a placeholder in for a topic,
Okay.
and they're not quite prepared and ready to speak about that. So I would suggest that we possibly table this until a further date.
I make the motion we table item 14 for further date.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 15, discussion and possible ratification of resolution 2020-03, authorizing approval of interlocal agreements regarding graphite solar reinvestment project area.
And Commissioners, you actually approved this resolution at the last meeting, but it was not advertised on the agenda formally as a resolution. This item was discussed and it was approved. I suggested we put it back on as a resolution, ratify the resolution so that the resolution number is tracking on our agendas and can be identified there if we need to in the future. So the matter's been discussed by you at the previous meeting. It was approved. I would just recommend you ratify that resolution with its resolution number at this point.
Good catch, Christian. I'll make a motion to ratify the resolution 2020-03.
I'll second it.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks for helping us clean that one up, Christian.
I should have caught it last week, so no thanks to me, but I'm glad we're fixing it. That's good.
There we go. Item 16, adjourn as the Carbon County Commission and convene as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn as the Carbon County Commission and convene as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 17, discussion and possible ratification of Resolution RDA 2020-03, authorizing approval of the interlocal agreements regarding graphite solar reinvestment project area.
I have no questions on that.
Again, this is also, just 17 and 18 were both discussed and approved last week. We're just assigning resolution numbers to them and making it formal that we actually approved a resolution.
Okay. I'll make a motion to ratify resolution RDA 2020-03.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 18, discussion and possible ratification of Resolution RDA 2020-04, authorizing the approval of participation agreement regarding graphite solar reinvestment project area.
This is the same thing again. So I'll make the motion that we ratify the resolution RDA 2020-04.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 19, adjourn as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency and convene as the Carbon County Commission.
I'll make the motion to adjourn as the redevelopment agency and convene as the Carbon County Commission.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Maybe one more motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
We are adjourned.